Walsh, stop running from my challenge. You cannot run from the king.
You're listening to Let's Talk Fantasy Football, where men of fantasy genius have realized, hey guys, we don't need real football skills to dominate on the fantasy field. Yeah. So slap on your pads and grab your helmet. Shit's about to get real.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Let's Talk Fantasy Football. I am your host, Nick Schreck, and joining me tonight is Vinny Gonzalez. He's here in the man bun. He is ready to rock and roll. Vinny, how you doing?
I am man bunning it. I'm a little ashamed of myself, but it's hot out, so doing okay.
Good man, good man. And guys, the man you've all been waiting for all off season. We teased him to you last week. The one, the only, the D.O.N. himself. Don, how you doing tonight?
Who?
The D.O.N.
Who?
The D.O.N.
James Jones.
Oof.
We'll get to James Jones. Let's not rush him.
I just figured I'd start off the, podcasting the right way.
Everybody that was listening just shut off the podcast.
Hey, as long as they hit play, we got the listen in early. Guys, before we jump into it, I do want to give a shout-out to No Halftime. They are sponsoring the podcast tonight. The No Halftime app, guys, isn't your typical fantasy sports service. You get to create one-on-one fantasy matchups. Use the code LTFF for a free sign-up bonus. All right, guys, so podcast number 2 of the 2016 season. We seem to get a warm reception to the first one. I can't even imagine the reception we're going to get to number 2 here with the D.O.N. on the podcast. I'm expecting the fans to be riding in the streets. So, guys, tonight we're going to hit NFL news. We have a interview with Grant Cohen of Project FANchise, which we'll tell you guys a little bit about. And, of course, we're going to close out, guys, with Ed's question of the week and a reader question coming from Dustin. So we'll give Don a chance to close in his normal fashion, and we'll save that for later on. But, guys, NFL, been busy. The Pro Bowl is going back to Orlando. Does anybody care?
Nope.
Should have went to Jacksonville, man. They have a pool at their stadium.
They do have a fucking pool. That'd be a lot nicer.
I would win.
I would be okay with that, too. Hawaii was a little far, but, hey, if Jacksonville, you get the pool, I could do that. Watch some football from a hot tub. It's not a bad life. All right, guys. Speaking of Jacksonville, the Jaguars signed wide receiver Allen Hurns to a 4-year, $40 million extension through 2020. What do you guys think here? You think that's money well spent here on Allen Hurns in Jacksonville? The team seems to be up and coming. $10 million a year is not bad.
Yeah, man, I think it's it's kind of like a bargain almost for Hurns, who's like a very solid 2. You know, him and Allen Robinson came out swinging as like a duo last year, and they still have Julius Thomas there, and Jacksonville's doing a lot of the right things to get start moving in the winning direction. So I like this signing, and I think Hurns is still a good value, like how he was last year. So I still view him pretty much the same, a solid 2.
I'm excited about Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a fun season for them. I think they're gonna put all the pieces that they need to put together this year. TJ Tasty now having another back there. I think they're just gonna be fun. But Allen Hurns, with signing that, does that kind of worry you? You know how like some of these players, they get signed and then they kind of slump down. You think that would affect his fantasy value at all?
I'm not super worried. I think just because the team's on the up and up, so I think as a whole they're just gonna. I think they're finally sick of tired of like losing all the time. So I think they're gonna win some games, and I think people are finally excited about the franchise for the first time in a while. So I'm hoping Hurns, contributes. We saw Allen Robinson obviously look legit. I think he'll be okay though, Vinny.
Yeah, this is a very modest deal. It's not really one that'll go to his head. This is a well-earned contract and pretty much what his value is. It matches out pretty well, so I think it'll be fine.
I agree. Don, you talked about TJ Tasty, and I know you love to let him marinate on your bench. We watch the Jaguars. They go out and get Ivory. We've seen a lot of movement between the two, and there's kind of, who's really the number one back, who should people be drafting. They're kind of close in some of the mocks I've seen so far. Again, it's early. It's only June 2nd, but what's your take on the running back situation there with Yeldon and Ivory, and what are you seeing out there from other analysts that you like or don't like, quite frankly?
On a personal level, it pisses me off. I think it's great for the Jaguars in general to have a committee on top of having a receiving core. They have their quarterback. They're putting the defense together. So as a team that's good. But I'll tell you what, man, these owners and GMs and coaches, they're getting fucking greedy, and they're not thinking about the fantasy fans and the fantasy players out there, because they're really just making it hard for us. As for what it's looking like, I don't know what the depth. It's too early to see who's on the depth chart, but like Fabiano has T.J. Yeldon at like running back 28 versus we've got, let's see here. No, I'm sorry, T.J. Yeldon at 26 versus he's got Ivory like down to running back 35. So Fabiano's feeling better about Yeldon. I think most people still have Yeldon ahead of Ivory, but I mean, it's kind of neck and neck. Besides that, you got Matthew Berry at 32, 33. I think he's just like whatever. I think it's too early for that. It's really got to come down to what we find out after maybe some preseason, see what's going on. But it could be just the committee. I think it hurts value for both compared to last year. And I was hoping for more potential out of Yeldon because I was a fan of TJ Tasty. But we'll see. So.
All right. Yeah, I mean, you look at Fantasy Football Calculator, guys, and for a 12-team PPR league right now, Chris Ivory's going at 7th pick in the 7th round, TJ Yeldon the 1st and the 8th. They are running backs 32 and 34 off the board respectively. So I think right now they're both their value kind of where they need to be because we just don't know. But it will be interesting to see how they diverge or if they really stay close because one of them will be a value, I think.
I think we should do like a live, we'll prospect, we'll go sit in the pool in Jacksonville, and we'll see how they're both running. I'll have my TJ Tasty swim trunks on that LTFF will throw on the website that will sell, something like that.
We'll get them. Yeah, we can get you some TJ Tasty swim trunks, Don. We can definitely do that.
I'll shave his number into my chest, scream his name the whole time.
You are a true TJ Tasty fan. You really are.
Great guy.
I love it. You're a great guy, Don. You're a great guy.
Yeah. Them signing Ivory pissed me off as much as James Jones being a free agent.
Let's just skip right down. We'll come back up. Free agent James Jones said he's surprised he's still without a team. Vinny, what do you think about that?
I refuse to comment on this situation. So we can just pass this over to Don since he's James Jones' #1 fan. I refuse to talk about him. Dude is straight garbage.
The funny thing is I really could care less. It pisses you off so much.
We're just at a stalemate of me hating him too much and you not caring enough anymore.
Hey, man, he throws that hoodie on and he just catches touchdowns, so.
Yeah, that piece of shit.
All right, that's enough time on James Jones tonight, guys. I was really hoping Matt would be on the podcast tonight. I wanted to talk about this note, but we're going to bring it up anyway. ESPN Cleveland's Tony Grassi says he'd imagine Isaiah Crowell will be the Browns starting running back in Week 1. He kind of talked about Duke Johnson last week, some potential value he thinks. And again, it's early. We'll see how it all plays out, but I'll wait and kind of get Matt's take on that. The Browns' backfield may once again be a fucking shit show that nobody wants to be involved in, quite frankly.
Yeah, I think it's going to be gross. Like Matt was talking about Duke Johnson, could be potentially like a sweet PPR monster, but I don't know. I'm not seeing it yet, and I don't really think I'm going to hop on that bandwagon anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not. When I think of getting ready for fantasy this year, I just don't think about the Browns running backs.
Yeah, it's good to keep all Browns on the back burner, especially during the off season.
Absolutely. Guys, on the flip side, though, we've got Jordy Nelson here, and my notes say he is the fucking man.
Thank you.
He declared himself game ready at Packers OTAs today.
It says fucking MAN.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Fuck that up.
Let's go Jordy, man.
I'm very pumped for Jordy to be back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even as a Packers fan. I think from the fantasy perspective, he's going to make that offense as a whole obviously better. We'll save talking about kind of all the ADPs of Packers players right now. I know Walsh kind of wants to expand on that in an upcoming podcast because he thinks they're quite frankly too low. But yeah, it sounds like Jordy's on his way back and ready to rock and roll. So he's going to be very interesting along with that whole Packers offense for fantasy, and we'll see if Fat Eddie can hold up. He looks good, and the reports indicate he's looking good.
Not as so fat.
Yeah, he's not fat anymore, Shrek. That was pretty mean. Why would you ever talk about him like that?
It's all right. I'll be turning in my resignation as host of this podcast shortly.
Yeah, I mean, you would imagine though, obviously you could see the impact of it last year between Randall Cobb really not having a great year, Rodgers not having as good of a year, and obviously giving James Jones a job and having him have touchdowns. So that obviously shows what impact Jordy Nelson has for the Packers, and I think one that proves the value of how much Jordy Nelson actually means to the Packers after last year. So I think you're going to see a whole bump in Aaron Rodgers and Randall Cobb as an immediate impact compared to maybe some others.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Guys, next here we have, it's a note that those who have been the longest of time listeners will appreciate. ESPN Patriots reporter Mike Reese believes wide receiver Aaron Dobson's roster spot is in danger. To most of you, that means absolutely nothing, and it should mean nothing. But at one point, we were Dobson believers. So, yeah.
When you say we, that excludes the shit out of me. I was not on that team at all. That was all you guys.
Yeah,
I'd rather play James Jones than Aaron Donald. That means something. That carries merit around here.
Who?
James Jones.
I don't know if you could have meant that less if you tried.
He just faced a full beer right there.
He did. But yeah, so Aaron Dobson, obviously, guys, no, you don't really care, but just as a throwback to the very original days of the podcast, fun to see, I guess, at least for me. Don, I want to ask you quick, since you weren't on last week's podcast with us, to talk David Johnson. David Johnson right now, Don, he's the fourth running back off the board in 12-point PPR leagues, according to the Fantasy Football Calculator. That's pick 8 in the first round. Do you think that's fair for David Johnson? Do you think it's too much? Do you think he should be going higher? Just to let you know, he's sandwiched by AP at pick 7 and Jamal Charles at pick 2 in the second round.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. In a sense, I was listening to you guys last week too, and it's kind of a struggle. I don't think it's as not deep as running backs as I think you guys were saying last week, but I think as like a top 5 to 10, it's a little scary because there's a lot of questionable people. Like you still got LaShawn McCoy in there, you got Jamal Charles, that were so injury-ridden guys that still could be in the top 10. AP's getting older, so it's interesting. David Johnson, I will still take AP all day over David Johnson. But I mean, he had a really good year last year, and Cardinals are good. So I think he's going to have a good year. I don't know if it's going to be within the top 5, but I still think he's probably a top 10 running back. So again, it all depends if he actually fully secures that job, which I'm sure you're going to hit next. But
yeah. I mean, I agree. He was great. The upside's there. But this piece, and again, it's June 2nd, so it's relative, but it scares the shit out of me. In an ESPN prediction piece, guys, Cardinals reporter Josh Weinenfuss suggested that Chris Johnson could beat out David Johnson for the starting running back job. Again, it's June 2nd, but a guy that covers the team full-time, kind of with that report early. Again, we haven't seen him on the field much, but it's a little worrisome, I got to think, for a guy that right now is a top 4 running back being drafted at least.
Yeah, I mean, it is the fact that they're saying that. I don't think Chris Johnson is going to beat him out for the job. How old is Chris Johnson, by the way?
It's got to be at least 55.
That sounds about right, actually.
Wow, 55. I thought he was 54. No, he's 30, and he's going to be 31 as of September. So once the season starts, this is already a 31-year-old running back that really hasn't had that great of a few years until he revived himself a little bit last year. He's 31. I don't know. I think David Johnson's spot's secure in that sense. But I think it's funny that they're saying that, and the fact that people have David Johnson as high up as number 4 running back at fantasy value. So I don't know. David Johnson, I think, is getting the job, but I still think that's really funny.
Yeah, and Chris Johnson will hang around. He even had a lot of startable games last year and saved a lot of people.
Yeah, he revived himself, but again, he's going to be 31. I think that was his last good year, and I don't think he's going to beat out David Johnson. David Johnson's a young dude that proved himself last year.
Fair enough. Yeah, again, it's early. We'll see how it plays out, but Chris Johnson does seem to somehow hang around, and it could be an issue for fantasy value, which we'll have to evaluate as we kind of do the team-by-team breakdown, and we jump into late July and August there as things really start happening. Guys, this is just – I have to bring this up. This is just a note here that it blows my mind, and I guess it's because we don't make this kind of money, but Deshaun Jackson forfeited a $500,000 workout bonus by skipping OTAs. $500,000. He's an asshole.
No, he dropped that in the club last week.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit. It's also the same amount that Walsh took to skip this podcast.
Well, he made out like a bandit. So
He sure
Walsh said something about watching the Cavs win tonight.
did. Biggest LeBron fan I know.
What a guy, man! He's loved LeBron since the beginning. So it'd be cool if he can watch LeBron finally get that win there with the Cavs.
Yeah.
All right, Don. Let's talk about Fantasy Pros here because I see some emotion was stirring up before the podcast. And where's your head at with Fantasy Pros and why?
I'm mad, and tell me if I'm right to be mad. So I'm at work, and one of my coworkers, he's like, "Oh, Fantasy Pros just came out with this article saying like who has the best shot of a breakout year," and I was like, "Okay, cool. Like, read them off to me." And then I wish this would load for me right now, but it's apparently frozen. But the one that they broke it down by running back, receiver, and tight end. The one tight end, it was the tight end between Jordan Cameron and Kobe Fleener, which I'm just mad that they even put Jordan Cameron in an article at this point. Then receivers, it was like Dante Moncrief, Harriman, someone else, and Brandon Cooks. And Nate Washington and Brandon Cooks. And Brandon Cooks, I feel, is like in a total another tier compared to the rest of these guys. And I'm just reading. I'm like, this is what we're gonna discuss, and I'm mad. I'm mad about it. Are you guys mad about that? I'm mad.
The Jordan Cameron thing pisses me off like a lot because he already had his breakout season. He is well on the decline to like almost being out of the league. I think he had an awful year last year. He did not transition well to a new team like whatsoever.
He just had surgery. I'm like almost positive.
That does sound familiar now that you're saying it.
Yeah, Jordan Cameron was like a sexy pick like 3 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree. It's fucked up. I mean, honestly, the Brandon Cooks and the rest of it thing sounds like an article I would write because like I would be like, oh, I don't know who to pick. I'm gonna pick Brandon Cooks. But yeah, he doesn't belong in a tier like that. I agree.
Cooks is a god compared to those guys.
Yeah, the other guys are more like sleepers that you can grab like in round 12.
And you know what? I'm kind of sick of this Nate Washington thing. The guy's like 36 years old, and I don't want to hear because he's going to New England, which they might not even have Brady for the first whatever games, even though Brady will still win. That they're like, oh yeah, Nate Washington could be someone. No, Nate Washington's not going to do anything.
I don't think so either, like at all. I guess like the whole premise for that is like what Edelman's not going to be fully healthy coming back, but like what does it matter?
No, Nate Washington's not going to do anything. I'm just upset. I'm sitting here. The fact that like I'm going to call up Brandon and be like, I'm sorry, please don't read this article because they're just downplaying you real hard right now.
You and Brandon are tight, so I know he's going to appreciate that call.
Broke my pen for him.
You stayed dedicated to him all year, Don. You truly did. All right, guys, what else you got on the NFL news? Anything? No? All right. Well, let's take a break, guys. We're going to hear from one of our favorite sponsors, NoHalftime.com.
You're staring at your weekly fantasy opponent and thinking to yourself, I would love to challenge just one of his players, not his entire team. But your fantasy sports service doesn't allow you to. Now you can on the all-new No Halftime app. The No Halftime app allows you to create individual challenges using players or teams. For example, you could pit Beckham versus Brown, Cam versus Rodgers, or even Ezekiel Elliott versus AP. Creating a challenge takes seconds, and accepting challenges is even easier. No Halftime challenges can be private or public and created for the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, PGA, and other sports. Join today and get started. Real money and fantasy supremacy awaits you. And now you can also try No Halftime for free with $0 challenges. Visit NoHalftime.com for more information and to download the No Halftime app for your iPhone or Android device. Receive a bonus by entering in the promo code LTFF at sign-up. Receive a free t-shirt when you make a deposit. No Halftime, where the fantasy sports season never takes a break.
All right, guys, welcome back. At this point, guys, you should have your cell phones out of your pockets. You should be downloading the No Halftime app and putting in the promo code LTFF. You're going to get a free sign-up bonus. Put some money in, you get a free T-shirt. That one's up to you. But definitely sign up for free, guys. I did hear that Vinny and Walsh are going to have a bet on No Halftime app tomorrow night for Game 2. So pretty excited to see how that goes. Walsh, he was too scared to do it tonight, so Vinny called him out on it, and we'll see if he follows through for night 2. Are you gonna hold up your end of the bet there, Vinny? You're gonna go in?
Oh yeah. To enlighten all the listeners, if you guys give a shit at all, I'm gonna say that LeBron is going to have more points than Steph Curry in Game 2 of the series. So we'll see how that plays out. Walsh, stop running from my challenge. You cannot run from the king.
All right, guys. I want to tell you guys a little bit about Project FANchise, and fortunately enough, we had a chance to interview Grant Cohen from Project FANchise, so he's going to tell you guys in his own words about it and how you guys can get involved if it's something that interests you. But guys, just to give you a quick background, Project FANchise, they bought an IFL team, and they want the fans to run it. They get control of picking the players, calling the plays, everything, team name, location. They actually, guys, picked Salt Lake City, and you know who they replaced? The Utah Blaze. You know who their QB used to be? The one and only the Tom Grady. So the Utah Blaze and Tom Grady, they were the favorites of the LTFF podcast, and unfortunately the Blaze are no longer there. But Tom Grady has continued his dominance. So the new team here that Project FANchise puts together will be playing there in Salt Lake. So of course we will support them fully here at Let's Talk Fantasy Football. But yeah, guys, it's a pretty cool project. They give the fans full control of everything. Pick the coach, pick the plays, pick the players. What do you guys think? Sounds like a novel concept to take fantasy into real life.
That's fucking awesome. All we want is control, and that's why we play fantasy football, because we think we can do it better. So this is a cool way to see if that's true or not, and to be a fan and like have a say in like all this is insane. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, we could definitely do it better.
If Don didn't just inspire you guys to do it better, I don't know what could. The only thing, guys, I think that maybe could do it is listening to Grant tell you about Project FANchise himself. So, guys, here's an interview we had with Grant earlier this week, and we hope you enjoy it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so here's the interview you guys have all been waiting for. We talked about it on last week's podcast. I am here with Grant Cohen. He's one of the founders of Project FANchise, guys, and what he's done is with a bunch of really awesome people who he's going to tell you about. He's taken fantasy football and kind of what we all do for fun and what we all like to think we're experts at kind of into the real world. So they kind of have given the fans the control, and they're still involved, but you guys hold the power. Grant, thanks for coming on the show. How are you doing today?
Hey, Nick. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having us. Good to be here.
Awesome. So it's our pleasure, Grant. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what Project FANchise is, how you guys got started? I think it's a really cool concept because we all wish we could be the GM of a team and make these calls, but quite frankly, none of us probably ever figured we'd have that real shot. I know I wanted it. I didn't grow up in a football family, and that dream kind of died there. So tell me what this is all about here.
Yeah, sure. So we always joke that every big sports fan wakes up usually when they're like 25 or 26 and realizes that the dream of playing in the NFL or NBA or Major League Baseball, that ship has probably sailed. You're past your prime at that point in terms of making the league. I'm pretty sure by birth I was not going to make it in any pro sport, but it didn't stop me from being a big pro sports fan. And I, like you, did not grow up in a family that had any involvement in it, so I had really no in or any wherewithal on how to get into it. And so honestly, the idea started with me and a few buddies. I went to the U for college and was at a bar in New York one night, just talking sports. It was summertime. We were watching a Yankee game, and somehow got on the discussion of, wouldn't it be great to run a team, and what could the fans, or could you as a regular fan who thinks they know a lot about the sport actually do a better job than people who are paid to do it? And we give the explanation of, it's like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where the chances that the people in the audience know more than the person in the seat is pretty low, right? Because the guy in the seat is obviously someone who's good at trivia and went through the process, got to the show, blah, blah. But if they ask the audience and like 80% of the audience takes B, they're sure as heck going to take B, right? The assumption is that in as a group, they're going to be better, even if as individuals they aren't, right? The sum of the parts is greater than the whole, some of the whole is greater than the parts, whatever it is.
That's human nature. You get in the group.
Anyway, so that was really our concept, and we thought it was a fun idea, and it was one of these that just sort of couldn't shake us. And we spent quite a while the next few days and months sort of researching it. And our original thought had been to do minor league baseball. It just sort of seemed like the affordable, reasonable way to do it. And it was a fun idea. We got some traffic. We had a blog in SB Nation about our team. We got a little bit of buzz, but it was never more than kind of a fun idea. And we all got busy with life and wives and kids and jobs and all those things. And then sort of, I honestly kind of forgotten about it to a degree. It was just sort of an old web page. And then out of the blue, about a year ago, a group of guys who owned an arena football team, which at that point I'd never even been to an arena game, called me out of nowhere and said, "Look, we saw what you guys are doing. This sort of this concept you have, we love it. We want to do it. How do we work together?" And over the next 4 to 6 months, we ended up bringing on an ownership group that included the guys from the Arena League, former NFL players, former NFL executives, and we were able to acquire the rights to an expansion team in the IFL. So somehow, in kind of a weird twist of things, I now own part of a football team, which is totally awesome and hilarious. And that team is fully built on the idea of being run by the fans.
It's awesome. I mean, you had Mark Cuban kind of come out here. He said the ultimate fantasy football crowdsourcing game. He was talking about you guys with FANchise. I got to imagine it's beyond your wildest dreams to now own part of a team, and you have Mark Cuban talking about what you've done. That's pretty cool in itself.
Yeah, it's amazing. So the quote he gave, he just gave to an article in the Daily Dot about us, and that they'd interviewed me. So I'd been quoted in a lot of it. And I got towards the end of the article, I saw his quote, and I was like, "What? Like, how did they get him in here?" So I actually wrote the author, and I was like, "I don't think you can just put a fake quote in there." He's like, no, I actually talked to Mark about it. I was like, "Really?" So he gave me his email address. So me and Mark went back and forth for a while. And oddly, it was like Dallas's first round when they were playing the Thunder. And literally during halftime of a game, he was emailing me. And I was like, what are you doing emailing me? I was thrilled. It was awesome.
Of course.
And he's been a really nice guy and a supporter of ours. We've had, really great support across the board. Like I said, we've got, particularly on the football NFL side, we have a handful of former Pro Bowlers, from Amon Green, who had sort of one particularly great fantasy season where he won a whole lot of people their fantasy football Super Bowls. Al Wilson is a multi-time Pro Bowler. Ray Austin used to play for the Bears and Packers. A lot of great guys, and then even guys from the executive side. So Manish Shah, who ran mobile and digital at NFL, and before that at CBS or ESPN, excuse me. And then Andy Dolich, who was the COO of the Niners, which was my team. I'm from the Bay Area, and is a great sort of sports industry veteran. The Grizzlies and the Warriors and the A's and a bunch of other organizations. And it's really cool to have guys like that who really know what they're doing,
Yes.
There to at least kind of guide us so that what we can actually let the fans decide on has some, scope, right? Because there's no logistic way to let the fans physically run the team, right? Like someone has to be there to actually manage things on a day-to-day basis and just even figure out what the next decision is that needs to be made. But what we want to do is let the fans make those decisions and be as informed about them as possible, right? So it's not just a blind decision, but really us saying, here's your options. If you were a real GM, these are the options you'd be weighing. This is what you'd be considering. And now you decide which one's the right selection. Fair.
Yeah. So Grant, tell me, how do the fans get involved? I know you guys ran a battle of the fans. I was part of that. It was a lot of fun. We saw a lot of movement, a lot of people involved. And I see here Pedro, he kind of came out the winner. So I know he's now the fan advisor with you guys. How does everybody else get involved with Project FANchise? I know you're still kind of kicking things off.
Sure. So Pedro is actually an amazing story. So Pedro is a diehard Packer fan, coincidentally, who lives in Mexico City, doesn't even live in the U.S. As you can imagine, the idea that there's someone in Mexico City who is a diehard fan of an indoor football league team in Salt Lake is kind of a stretch, right? Like a team that's never taken the field. And I think that shows you how interesting this concept is, right? That there are football fans literally across the world who want to be involved, even if the team itself isn't something that necessarily would have drawn them in initially. And that's a big part of what we're trying to prove, right, from a business model standpoint is, look, we think there's a way for sports teams, big and small, to be able to engage fans outside their local market and outside of the, call it 16, 20 weeks a year that they're actually playing their sport, on game days. And so far we've seen good success. So our initial foray was, we called our Battle of the Fans. We had over 25,000 fans register, and sort of a competitive sharing engagement platform where we awarded prizes to the top 100, including number one, who became an official advisor to the team. And then we started an Indiegogo campaign to raise funds to help us build the app, which is ultimately the thing that I think is going to really be the way in which fans interact with us the most, 24/7, 365. The idea behind the app is to really make it more of a game, sort of like a fantasy sport, but I call it more kind of a casual version of fantasy, where every day fans are going to have the ability to kind of prove their knowledge by answering a series of trivia, quiz questions, etc., around football, whether it's play calling or what players use in certain situations, or maybe even just picking logos and jersey designs, those sort of things. And based on how well you do compared to other fans, how strong you are as sort of the voice of the fan, you earn points. The more points you get, the higher up you move in terms of levels, and the more levels you unlock, the greater your voting power and the greater things you can vote on. So you can imagine right now we're letting everyone vote on our team name.
Yep.
We let anyone who wanted to sign up on our website submit nominations and drive likes and upvotes. We had almost 400 submissions and 6,000 likes across the different names. We chose the top 10, and now it's an official vote. So right now for the voting, every fan gets at least one vote. But if you're someone who is in our top 100 of the Battle of the Fans, or contributor on Indiegogo, or a season ticket holder, your vote actually counts for more. You get a boost. Because this is not a democracy. We don't think all fans are created equal. We want this to be a competition, and the fans who can prove they're the best fans to be able to really get extra skin in the game, while still making it fun and interesting for everybody.
Of course. I mean, right now it looks like Utah Sand Troopers is leading the way for you guys.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by it. In the sort of first round of figuring out the top 10, Teamy McTeamface and Storm and Mormons were certainly the odds-on favorites. They got the lion's share of the votes or likes, which led us to believe that the internet may be playing a little bit of a cruel trick on us. We tried to open up to the fans, and we got some trolls, but that's okay. And honestly, the way that we had the system set up, it's one of the first questions we get from everyone is, how do you keep the trolls out? And we're pretty confident that our model around really rewarding the best fans to have the strongest say will end up working in the end to make the right decisions, and keep people out who don't really want to be a part of it. But those who want to have the vested time, energy, et cetera, into the team and really care about the team will be the ones who ultimately drive most of the decisions. And that appears to be what's happening now that we've sort of moved to the next phase of voting. The kind of
the cream of the crop,
quote unquote names the names you think the fans would want seem to be bubbling up to the top.
Good. It's awesome. So now, can anybody go and vote on a team name, or do you have to be a backer from Indiegogo?
No, anybody can go and vote. You can go on there, you register. You can only vote once. We sort of track your IP address, your email, to make sure that you're not submitting multiple votes. You get choose one name that you get to vote for. Like I said, if you are someone who is part of the top fans or Indiegogo or season ticket holder, your vote gets a boost, and it's based on sort of your level. So if you're a top 10 fan or a top 100 fan, or your contribution level on Indiegogo, it changes how much boost you get, but you get a little extra juice for your say.
Okay, awesome. So Grant, so far out of this process, I know it's kind of been a wild ride for you, because it went from an idea to kind of almost left for dead, and then now it's back in full force, and it's real life. You guys play your first game, I think, next February, 2017. Yep. So exactly right. You guys are almost there. You've got a lot of work to do in the meantime. But what's been the best part of this process so far for you? If you could pick one or two moments, what stood out to you? What has really just kind of been that best piece so far?
This is going to sound so cheesy and lame, but it's actually kind of true. Fairly early on, after we got the sort of team, it was a few months ago, after we got sort of the team assembled, we got the rights to the team, right when we were launching sort of the Battle of the Fans and first kind of getting the word out there, we got invited by the NFL subreddit to do an AMA. And to do the AMA, they wanted to have not only those of us who are sort of the founders of the business side, but also the NFL players and whatever. So there were probably 10 of us who were there, and we set up a Google Hangout, and all 10 of us were on at the same time, because about half of us live in LA, the rest are kind of spread out throughout the country. Okay. And so we had, Ray on there, and Al Wilson, and Andy, and our whole team, and advisors, and it was a hoot. It was like just the silliest, most fun. So as the question, it was great. It was a really good success. We got very few trolls and a ton of great questions. As the questions are coming in, everyone's talking to each other and they're answering, and it ended up just turning into. It felt very much like, I would imagine, the inside of an NFL locker room. But basically everyone just shit talking each other, and having a ton of fun, and but on the same team. It was just,
Of course.
it was a really neat sort of experience to see a bunch of like-minded people with varying backgrounds who are doing something fun and cool, and a bunch of fans who are interested in it, and kind of all doing that together and doing it. What was super interesting is that we were doing it remote and digital, right?
Yep.
It wasn't like we were all there in person and sitting around a conference. Like, we were actually doing it with hundreds of fans live, and everyone all talking at the same time and having a really good, I thought a really good time and a good success out of it.
Awesome.
That
Yeah.
was a lot of fun.
I think it pulls it all together. It's kind of what you guys have been about, and it reinforces kind of that fantasy and real life kind of scenario. You know, there's trash talk and you're having fun, and you know, a lot of people are spread out all over the place, so it's nice to be able to bring everybody together.
That's exactly right. I think, look, we realized that our team, our first team, our current team, is going to play in Salt Lake City, and like we said, is a arena football team. I call it minor league, but a sort of the second largest arena football league. It's not on national TV. Doesn't have national sponsors. Very few of the players and coaches in the league are people that anyone recognizes. Most sports fans have never even heard of the IFL. So the idea that we are able to somehow create a level of engagement for fans to be a part of that from all over the place is so awesome. Like, that to me, that's just so cool. Like, you could actually care about and be interested in a team that has all those things sort of going against it, right? That should just make it such a small, localized sport that has a couple thousand fans. The idea that we already have 100,000 fans on social media and followers is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool to see it come to life, and people from all over the place kind of taking part. So you guys are on Indiegogo. You guys have already hit your funding goal. So the app, I'm really excited to see it come alive and let people kind of get in there and take part. You have 8 days left as of June 1st. So what, out of the gigs that are out there, what would be your favorite gig left that as a fan, just forget that you own a piece. If you were looking at this right now, what would you want out of what's left in these goals here? Because there's a lot of cool ones. You could be a scout. You can become part of the ownership. I mean, what's your favorite piece?
That's a good question. I mean, the one that I think seems like just like the easiest fun one is being able to play Madden against Aman, because I know how big of a Madden fan he is. He's like a diehard gamer, and I just think that's like such a cool thing that, and you could do it from anywhere, right? That you could just be a regular old dude playing Madden, and next thing you know, you're playing against a guy who's actually in the game and who's really good at it. I think that's like a very entertaining, interesting one. And then I think, any of the ones where you get the chance to actually be a scout or an assistant coordinator, I think is going to be a pretty unique experience for people who are really diehard sports fans, and particularly those who are really into fantasy, because that's the ultimate chance of really having fantasy come to real life. You're going to be, as closely tied in to the actual coaches on the field as can be possibly done from a digital perspective. For the coordinators, our plan is to actually let you be listening in on their headphones of the conversations, helping craft the play designs the week before, and helping to even call plays during the game. For scouts, it's really being able to look at players, break them down. And yeah, I mean, literally, my hunch is we've had a ton of scouts who have signed up. My guess is that we will actually have a scout who's going to find a player, who's going to make the team, who's going to end up getting called up to a bigger league, and maybe even a practice squad, or maybe even get game time in the NFL. And how cool is that? That you as just like a dude were able to actually discover someone and get them, get them noticed. Like that's pretty awesome. In my mind.
I agree. It's awesome. It's kind of like you said, your dream come true, being able to own a piece of a pro team now. And for those that never had that shot to be involved. So guys, if you want to check out FANchise, you can go to FANchise.se. It'll redirect you right over to the Indiegogo campaign right now. You can learn more about them, what's going on, what funding goals are left, and everyone can take a shot. Grant, I thank you for the time for coming on, and we'll definitely have you back as we go into the fantasy season.
Thanks, Matt. I really appreciate it.
All right, Grant, take care. All right, guys, so that is a definitive interview with Grant Cohen from Project FANchise. I know you guys are probably excited. The Indiegogo campaign, if you want to become a supporter, is still going on. I think you have about 5 or 6 days left. They have some cool perks, guys. You can be a professional scout for the team. You can actually get an ownership stake in the team, or kind of become I think part of the management group as well. So you can also sign up if you want to play Madden against him on green. So definitely some cool perks left, and you get some cool voting power when it comes to the 2017 season. All right, guys. The moment everyone waits for every week, it's Ed's question of the week. And guys, Ed asked this week, do you expect Keenan Allen to play the way he did at the beginning of last year? I think there's no one better to start this question with than our Chargers, number one Chargers fan, the king of bolting up, the D.O.N. himself.
Yeah, dude, I'm all about Keenan Allen. I think he's going to come back and kick some ass. I would invest in Keenan Allen this year. I think last year he was coming off of a bad year, and he came in and he was super hot until he got hurt. So I think he's going to be a badass this year, and I think you should definitely invest in some Keenan Allen and bolt the fuck up.
Hell yeah, Don. I'm right there with you. He shook that sophomore slump like no one I've ever seen and was on pace to have well over 1,000 yards, somewhere in that 90 catch zone. And I think he had, around 5 touchdowns before he got hurt, maybe 6. I forget. But he was well on his way to just amazing shit that year. So I'm willing to invest too. Don, what area are you looking to take Keenan Allen? Like, how early would you take him coming off this injury?
Ooh. Wow. That's a good question. I like him in the, right outside the top 10 wide receiver range. I like him.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I like him, wide receiver, 13 area. So
all right, top 15. I'll accept that.
I would probably, it would be if I had a choice between.
Let me throw you some names because I want to give you some perspective of where he's going.
I would probably take him maybe. Go ahead, throw names.
All right. So, guys, 12-team PPR according to Fantasy Football Calculator right now, June 2nd. He is currently pick number 5 in the second round. He's 17th off the board overall. He is the 9th receiver off the board. So, give you some perspective. I'm going to throw some names that are going in that range, and we'll kind of see what you're thinking. A.J. Green or Keenan Allen?
A.J. Green.
Yeah, A.J. Green.
I agree. A.J. Green's going 7th at wide receiver. Alshon Jeffrey or Keenan Allen?
I'll go Keenan Allen on that one.
That one is where my line draws. I think I would favor Keenan Allen, but that would be really tough.
I would go Keenan as well. Alshon is going wide receiver 10 right behind Keenan. Guys, Jordy Nelson or Keenan Allen?
Jordy.
Yeah, Jordy.
Okay, Jordy's going number 8, so 1 right above Keenan Allen. Mike Evans, Keenan Allen.
Keenan.
I think I would go Mike Evans, actually.
I would go Evans as well. It's close, though. Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen?
Keenan Allen.
It's about it. Allen Robinson and Keenan Allen.
I would go Keenan Allen.
I would go A-Rob.
Interesting.
Okay. A-Rob's going 11th pick in the first round on average. So he's going wide receiver 8, 7, 6. So some disparity there, but yeah, Keenan's about wide receiver 9 right now. I mean, based on what we just kind of went through, he's somewhere in the 9 to 11 range for all of us based on those names. So yeah, I think we like him, but yeah, I don't think I even realized until now where Keenan is. So yeah,
nice.
Ed, Keenan's gonna be he's gonna be good. You have to be able to come to terms with the price you're gonna have to pay to get him. Yep. All right, guys. We have one reader question coming in this week. This one's from Dustin. It's a little bit of a long one here, but here we go. I'm in a keeper league where you can keep up to 3 players. If you keep 3 players, they take up your first 3 rounds, so you start drafting in the 4th. The league is a full-point PPR league. Running backs get 2 points for every 10 yards rushing and a 10-point bonus at 100 yards. Running backs also get 2 points every 20 yards receiving and can get a 10-point bonus at 100 yards receiving. Wide receivers get 2 points every 20 yards receiving and a 10-point bonus at 100 yards. The players below are my keeper options. Todd Gurley, Jamal Charles, Lamar Miller, DeAndre Hopkins. He says, would you go with the 3 running backs or trade Charles and go with the 3 younger players? Vinny?
I think Dustin said it himself. I would definitely trade Charles, keep the 3 young dudes. I think they got a lot of potential, especially Todd Gurley and DeAndre Hopkins. The risky pick to keep is Lamar Miller, but his situation in on the Texans is insane. So he's got a lot of opportunity there, and I think you can't go wrong with those three.
I'm going to agree there. Don, what do you think?
I'm going to – Todd Gurley, definitely. Guys.
Yep.
The fucking man. DeAndre Hopkins, you definitely have to keep. And I'm going to go Jamal Charles. Because I'm going to go with the risky bet with Jamal Charles. If he's healthy and he has another year, he does everything in Kansas City. So Lamar Miller, he has a lot of upside, don't get me wrong, in Houston. But I'm just going to go with Jamal Charles because I still think if he's fully healthy, he'll still be better.
Don, aren't you concerned that, like we were saying when we were talking pre-podcast, that's like a short-term answer? Like if Charles comes back healthy, there's like a bunch of ifs. And then like what if Lamar Miller is just filthy and he's way younger than Charles?
And
you're willing to take that?
Lamar Miller is not filthy.
All right. Fair enough, Don, I guess.
I'm just saying, I think I would go with a more proven guy where Jamal Charles has had this injury, but he's come back and had a full year as well. So I think Jamal Charles has proven more than Lamar Miller has. Lamar Miller's a new offense. He has upside, but we still don't know anything. Lamar Miller could potentially not do well, even though I don't think that will happen. But I just like Jamal Charles better, and I'm already keeping those other two guys. I would keep the pick of Jamal Charles. That's just my opinion. I'd be willing to waste Lamar Miller for Jamal Charles.
Crazy. So you just need to see Lamar Miller be a bell cow for a year and see how it goes?
Yeah, I mean, there's just uncertainty. I don't think Lamar Miller's going to have a bad year. I just think that because there's that uncertainty that I'm willing, not even that, I'm willing to leave Lamar Miller and keep Jamal Charles because if these points that these running backs are getting are like pretty insane, and when Jamal Charles is healthy, he's literally the sole man in Kansas City. So that's a lot of freaking points that he's going to take. Because he's already got DeAndre Hopkins, so he's going to get good. He's already got a Texan on there that's going to get good points. I would go Jamal Charles because if he is healthy and he does have a good year, like he does everything. So he's going to get that 100 yards receiving. He's probably going to hit that with 10-point bonus every once in a while if he's healthy. Versus Lamar Miller, I'm willing to, because he's so new and you don't know, I'm willing to waste him that potential for Jamal Charles on that. So that's
Don is all in.
Yeah, Don's all in.
Do you know if Charles is going to be healthy for week one? I haven't seen much on his.
I saw today he's not going to, I don't think, be doing any physical stuff till he gets to OTAs. So I think he'll be okay for week one. But again, until you see him out there moving and see what he looks like, it's always a gamble. I think he'll be okay. Again, part of me is biased, hoping he'll be okay.
He's also done it before, so it's a little.
He has. And Don's right. I mean, if you, Dustin, if you need the short term, Jamal Charles is your guy for the safety. The future, Lamar Miller could bust and you're screwed in that spot, or he could work out and you have a lot more value down the road. So I think you need to balance if you need it now or if you need it long term. I would lean Lamar Miller just because Charles is going to be 29. He's coming off his second ACL. He is a Chiefs guy, but at some point he's going to need a new deal, and I don't know what happens there in Kansas City. But I'd lean Lamar Miller, but it's super close. I could understand the argument to go either way. But honestly, Dustin, if you don't have to decide now, don't wait and see how Jamal Charles progresses through OTAs. If he has any setbacks, he may help you make that decision, quite frankly.
Yeah, and you'll also get to see Lamar Miller in preseason too.
Yeah, so I would take as much time as you possibly can, take it down to the wire there, Dustin. But good luck. If Let's Talk Fantasy Football is good for anything, it is indecisive advice. All right, Don, how about you close us out here with the Timmy Treat of the Week?
Fantasy pros, you have earned Timmy Treat of the Week.
Oof.
Don't you ever put my boy Brandon Cooks in the same category with those bums. Dante Moncrief, Nate Washington, and Brashad Perriman. Boo.
There you have it, folks. The very first Timmy Treat of the Week. Don comes out firing, and we'll see how that turns out for us. But, guys, until next week, we are Let's Talk Fantasy Football, and we will catch you on the flip side.
This has been Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Thanks for listening.